Each year, Americans spend $4.2 billion on something the industry calls snack cakes. That comes to 13.5 billion cupcakes, fruit pies, Twinkies, donuts. You name it, we're eating it.
Snack cakes in general have moved out of an area of just for a pastry in the morning to an all-day opportunity to snack.
To keep up with consumption, baking companies have scaled up production and consolidated, growing beyond their small-town roots.
Most baking companies started out as a small regional bakery, but the customers changed. Retailers consolidated as well and became much larger retail chains, and it kind of drove suppliers to consolidate.
Ever larger retailers opted for the one-stop shopping efficiencies of buying from ever larger bakeries.
We're running 42,000 cupcakes an hour, and we have a capacity to run 5 million cupcakes a week.
5 million cupcakes. That takes a lot of the basics, flour and sugar.
There's 50,000 pounds of sugar that comes in on a truck and unloaded into the bulk silo, which can hold 120,000 pounds each. We're using approximately 450,000 pounds of granulated sugar a week.
At Flowers Foods' Crossville, Tennessee plant, they make 64 varieties of cupcakes, cream cakes, pecan twirls, brownies, cinnamon rolls, honey buns, and snowballs. If Flowers cupcakes look familiar, it's because many players in the industry make similar products. Flowers, which started in 1919 when William and Joseph Flowers opened their first bakery in Thomasville, Georgia, now boasts 34 bakeries. The original site made headlines by producing 30,000 loaves of bread a day.
To put that into perspective, one of our new generation bakeries can produce 170,000 loaves of bread.
If you look at snack foods, it's gone largely from what was a single batch process producing a few dozen or a few hundred maybe, to continuous process that's thousands of pounds an hour.
Continuous process technology is in full swing at Flowers' Crossville, Tennessee bakery, which makes more than 80 million pounds of product annually. The company's AutoBake inline system runs 724 feet from mixing to packaging.
There's two processes to our mixing process. There's the primary mixing process where the ingredients are blended together. Then there's the continuous mixer where air is injected in and we're trying to maintain the same specific gravity so that we can keep a consistent volume of the finished product.
The amount of injected air depends on the desired specific gravity or density. More for a cream cake and less for a denser cupcake. The cupcake mix will stay in a holding tank for 27 minutes at 68 degrees. This will allow the baking powder to leaven the dough to the proper consistency.
One thing that makes baking, I think, more complex than some other food ingredients is bakery materials, before they go through the oven, are active, living, moving things. If you're dealing with a dough that has yeast in it and fermentation, that dough is continually changing from the time it's mixed until you get it through the process. So you can't just make a huge batch and work on it all day. You've got to be timing everything through.
The depositor pumps 1.4 ounces of batter for each cupcake. 700 cupcakes a minute, more than 3,600 pounds of batter an hour. Then the pans are conveyed into a very unconventional oven.
The difference between this oven and a conventional oven is the size or the footprint of the oven. This oven is a much more compact oven. It's a 40-foot long oven by 3 feet wide. It produces as much as a 120-foot tunnel oven 12-foot wide.
That's because the pans move vertically, shaking back and forth for 18 minutes through the oven's 4 cooking zones, with heats ranging from 350 to 535 degrees. And there's no fire in this oven. 575-degree thermal oil circulates through a closed system, conserving energy. After leaving the oven at 193 degrees, the cupcakes cool for 25 minutes. At 98 degrees, they're ready to be injected with creamy filling. Temperature control is critical.
If the product is too cold, the cake will break, and if the product is too hot, then the cream will liquefy. Then
the pans are inverted, dumping their cargo. At this point, pans and cupcakes part ways. Cupcakes onward for icing, and pans backward to be cleaned and returned to the beginning of the line. There, they will be greased and refilled with batter to begin the process anew. The cupcakes then pass under 130-degree chocolate icing and a drizzle of white string icing. Now, only a 200-foot tempering tunnel awaits them. The cupcakes will cool to 70 degrees by the time they reach packing. Eight automated packing machines package between 70 and 110 units per minute, but there's still a place for human intervention.
That's one of our quality control points. It allows us to visually inspect the product to make sure it's up to our standards. It allows us to place the product in the package and keep the string icing design in line in the package.
Flowers bakeries strive to stay competitive because they must go head-to-head with the largest wholesale baker in the country, Interstate Bakeries, which owns the Hostess brand.
Approximately 500 million Twinkies are consumed each year in the United States. So divide that by 365, and I think it's about 1.369 million a day.
And like anything this famous, Twinkies have had to suffer the slings and arrows of quite a few urban legends, including one about not being baked.
Twinkies are a baked product. They are not a chemically engineered product. They're baked. They've always been baked. Another urban legend is that a Twinkie will survive a nuclear holocaust. I don't know that to be true or false, and certainly would not hope to ever find out that.
A retired milkman in Indiana has eaten at least one Twinkie a day for over 60 years, for a total of more than 22,000.